Yeah, I think there's a bit correction here. Uh, I'm not working in Capgemini Dubai. I'm working in Capgemini Norway. I think the buses have not updated the slides since
Sorry.
we
Yeah.
worked in Dubai together. So maybe I
Okay.
think there's some mistake here. Okay. Before wasting too much time, let's begin because it's a vast topic. We are going to cover the event-driven architecture, what it is. We're going to cover the platform event PE. We are going to cover the change data capture CDC, and also we are going to see the demo, live demo, where we are going to publish it through the Salesforce Apex, and we are going to subscribe it in the Node.js app. So a lot of things we need to cover in this 1 hour. So I'll try my best to give you the exact knowledge and core knowledge about the event-driven architecture, platform event, and CDC. Okay. About me, I'm a Daniel Madhure. I'm a technical architect in Capgemini, Norway. Earlier, I was working in Dubai with Debasis, a very good friend of mine. I'm 19x certified Salesforce consultant. And if you have any questions after this session, you can reach out to me LinkedIn. I'm quite active on the LinkedIn, and you can ask me about any questions about this session today. Okay, forward-looking statement. As you know that you know what I'm going to present. There are some of the things which are still in the beta, not GA yet. So please make sure before you're taking any purchasing decision, evaluate with the Salesforce and then only go forward. So safe harbor here. So there are a lot of updates in the latest release on the PE and CDC. So when I say PE, is it all about like platform event, and when I say CDC, is change data capture. Okay, so I'm going to use the acronyms here. Okay, first of all, thank you. Thank you for joining the session. It's on the weekend, and I believe we postponed this session twice. I was in out of for the business trip in Paris, uh, for the architectural meeting and all. But thank you for giving me your time, and I appreciate your time today, and I'm really thankful and grateful for giving me time and understanding that we have postponed this event twice. And I'm making sure that it's going to be worth it for you. You're going to learn a lot of things from it. Even though if you don't know about it, never worked on the PE and CDC, you're going to know about everything, how we're going to deal with that in the Salesforce. Okay, so today's agenda, we're going to discuss about what is event-driven architecture, why we need it. Is it only the Salesforce-oriented, or event-driven architecture is in every technology? Main topic, we're going to discuss about the platform event, PE. We're going to discuss about change data capture, which is CDC. And also we're going to see the demo, how we can publish the platform event through the Apex and subscribing that into the downstream system in Node.js, right? So, and then followed by the questions answers. So if you have any questions, just put it in the chat window, and then Rahul can take it with me after the demo. Remember that the subscribing part in the Node.js, you don't have to worry about it. But also for this demo, I have made it clear that how you can subscribe that also in the downstream system. But that's not your job. That you can subscribe it into the Node.js and all. You don't need to know that. Okay, let's begin. So, what is event-driven architecture in Salesforce? So, event-driven architecture in Salesforce is nothing but the event notification system to the downstream system, right? And why we need it, we're going to see that in the further slides. So, it's a real-time notification system which is based on the Bix protocol, uh, and it's a publish subscriber model, right? And also it comes into the integration pattern on the fire and forget, which is push notification. There are three aspects in the event driven architecture I mainly highlight when we all the time thinks about the event driven architecture is loose coupling, right? We are not going to have the point to point integration with the downstream system or our external system. It's a loose couple, right? What we are going to do, we are going to publish the event on the event bus, and it's a job of the external system, downstream system, to subscribe that event. We are going to see that who are the publisher, who are the subscriber in the next slide as well. uh, okay, and the second is resilience. Okay, so think about, right, in the point to point integration, when your external system, third party system is down, You can't send your payload, you can't send your data to the third party system. You need to retry that mechanism into your Apex code, right? Maybe 4 times, 5 times before it permanently fails. But in the event driven architecture, we have the resilience. Even though if the third party system is down, you can just push your event notification to the downstream system in the event bus. We are going to also discuss about what is the event bus in the next slides. And whenever the external system is up, right, then they can subscribe within that time window frame, which is 72 hours in the event bus. Third is broadcasting. So this is the heart of the event driven architecture. So it's a core in the event driven architecture platform where the publisher system can gets the ability to broadcast the message on the event bus. Okay, so the publishing system, right? Salesforce, take an example of Salesforce can broadcast the message on the event bus, and the any third party system like SAP, Workday, or MDM system can come and subscribe the event on the event bus and pull the data out on it. So we have a loose coupling model here. We don't have the point to point integration. I'm going to explain you about why we are moving for the event driven architecture in a couple of slides as well, instead of the point-to-point integration. Okay, a couple of things note. You need to note that what components we need to consider for the event-driven architecture. One is the event. So event is nothing but the state change and which is meaningful for the business. Thinking about opportunity. When opportunity is closed won, we wanted to share that closed won information with the opportunity ID to the downstream system, maybe ERP system, right? So that's where the event comes in. Event is nothing but the meaningful business state, right? Which is opportunity closed lost or closed won. We need to send that information to the downstream system that we have won the opportunity. So I'm just talking about in the PE platform event perspective, where we need to send the state change information to the downstream system. Now event message is nothing but the containing data in that event, right? Which is like closed won, closed lost, right? Or order fulfillment if we are getting the order in the Salesforce. Third one is producer. Who is the producer into the event bus? Is it Salesforce is going to publish the event into the event bus, or any downstream system like SAP or ERP system is going to publish that event to the event bus? That is called producer. Producer can be any system. It can be a Salesforce. It can be your external system, third party system, which can publish on that event bus. Channel. Channel is nothing but in what way we are going to send that event, whether it's from the Apex, whether it's from the flow, whether it's from the process builder. We don't have to use it, as it's going to get deprecated. But we need to think about the channel of the medium, right? Now take an example of the Node.js, how the Node.js is going to publish the event on the event bus by commit the protocol, which is nothing but the JavaScript library. And so the channel is very important medium here. What channel we are going to produce the event on the event bus. And the last one is the consumer. Consumer is nothing but the subscriber who's going to get the information from the event bus, right? Subscribing is very important, where if we wanted to, if the Salesforce is sending an information about the opportunity stage, closed one, so downstream system needs to subscribe that event on the event bus, where the downstream system will be get sync. Okay, what does this state change into the Salesforce? Okay, so this is the event driven architecture. So where publisher comes in, event bus is there, and the consumer is there, which is nothing but the subscriber who's going to consume the event through the event bus, right? So main thing to note that event producer, event consumer, we have a channel, we have a event message. And if you see that we are talking about the event bus, it's nothing but the middleman between who's carrying the information and passing it to the downstream system. So we are talking here about the decoupled mechanism, right? It's not tightly coupled, right? We are not writing any Apex code and giving our endpoint to the external system, and asking them to pull the data and all. We're simply publishing the message on the event bus, and it's a job of the third party system to, whenever they want, they can come and subscribe that event within that time window. I'm going to explain about what is the time window for the standard platform event and high platform event in the next slide soon. Okay, if you see the history of the streaming API evolution, um, give me 1 minute, guys. Okay, so if you see, like earlier we had the generic API, push topic API. Still, is there. It's a legacy API. Salesforce have not improved it. But in the current modern APIs, we are using this platform event and change data capture, and that's what we are going to discuss today. These two current streaming API. The push topic event and generic API was using the SQL query, where every time you're going to query about what has been changed into the system, and it was coming into the polling issue, right, where the polling issue is eradicated altogether into the platform event and the change data capture. So this is the whole like broad perspective of the streaming API. There are new APIs also coming last 2 weeks before, which is the PubSub API, which is was using the gRPC protocol of the Google. Okay, so it's like a vast topic. Again, I think we need to take the a different session for that. It's all new in the market. I think last week it become a GA into the Salesforce, and it is using the gRPC, which is the Google protocol for the publishing and subscribing model, and it's quite nice also. Okay, let's move. So we discuss about the publisher subscriber model, right? So event producer, it can be a Salesforce, it can be the Workday system, it can be MDM system, which will produce, right, which will publish the event on the event bus, right, and the event consumer will consume that within the 72 hours window. Now, by default, after the API version 45 onwards, we're having by default high volume platform event. Earlier we were having the standard platform event, but after the API version 45 or 48 later, we had the high version of the platform event. We're going to see that also in the org uh, also. Okay, so getting on the event bus, as I mentioned, right, the Salesforce event bus is quite powerful. Again, in the latest release, they have moved the Salesforce event bus into the different stack. Earlier the Salesforce event bus was in the same stack of the Sales Cloud, Service Cloud, your field service, everything in the same Salesforce stack. But recently the Salesforce event bus has been moved into the different stack altogether. The reason is that because a lot of customer was moving from the point-to-point integration to the event-driven architecture. And why they were moving into the event-driven architecture, I'm going to tell you that also in the upcoming slide. So Salesforce have decided there were a lot of maybe load on the event bus, so they have dedicatedly created the different stack into the for the Salesforce event bus, since it's in the same environment of the Salesforce, but it's a different stack. Earlier it was working with the same Sales Cloud, Service Cloud, field service, all the product stack, but they have moved all together into the different stack now, because very I think more than 200 plus percent the platform event producer and consumer was increased lately. So they for the runtime environment, or for the they have improved the performance of the Salesforce event bus. Okay, so you can publish the event through the Apex. You can publish the event through the Flow. You can publish the through event through the process builder as well. I've not mentioned the process builder since it's going to deprecate. So still you can do that, but don't use that. Again, you have to migrate that into the Flow or Apex. And for the subscriber, you can subscribe the event through the Apex, Lightning UI, and Flow. In the Lightning or a component also, you can use the EMP API, Lightning EMP API, and you can subscribe the event. And in the Lightning Web component also, you need to import the commit D library into your JavaScript code, and you need to use the EMP API component into your Lightning Web component, and you can subscribe the message from the event bus. Okay, why we are moving from the point-to-point integration to the event-driven architecture and platform event or CDC? Everyone might have this question. So if you think about if your business is small, maybe like a small scale of business, but every business grows, right, eventually. So if you think about in this diagram, Salesforce is publishing directly having the point to point integration with the SAP, it's fine. But eventually, after a couple of years, you might have seen in your own project that your enterprise architecture has gone wide. A lot of system are getting involved, maybe up to 3 years, right? So you have like SAP, Amazon SV3, maybe you have an MDM system, Oracle. You wanted to send the information to your Workday system. You want to send your information to your ERP system, or CMS, or Commerce Cloud, any system. So you're having lot of integration points in your Salesforce org. You have to write a lot of code, right? And even though Salesforce provides a force.com platform for us to write a code, but that doesn't mean like we can write a lot of code and decrease the performance of org, right? When we're talking about the code, obviously we need to think about the maintenance perspective as well, correct? So it's a very better choice and wise decision to move from the point to point integration to the event driven architecture, where you don't know which systems are subscribing to that event. Your job is to only publishing the event on the event bus. And if there are 500 system also, you don't have to write the call out or apex remote call in to get the data from the external system, or having that all the REST API code into your org, right? You can use the platform event and get the data into your Salesforce, or publish the data to the downstream system. Even though if you don't know how many systems are there, maybe 500 plus, they can come and consume the platform event through the event on the event bus. So that's up to 3 years. But what if maybe if you're seeing like there are projects who are running from last 15 years, there are thousands of system integrated with the Salesforce. So this, you're 5 years down to the line, if you're having point to point integration, where you're having the integration with Magento, you're having integration with the Heroku Postgres, SAP, different on-premise systems, right? And that is again, you need to have the adapter, integration adapter, to integrate that with the on-premise system. It's quite hectic for the developer to have that all the point-to-point integration. And even though it's not the scalable and reliable architecture and the integration pattern for the Salesforce as well, eventually the performance of the org goes down. If you have a lot of code, a lot of maintenance, you have to write a lot of test classes, maintain that. And if you've seen any code which is written like maybe 5 years ago or 10 years ago, is not constant. You need to maintain that code all the time. APIs are changing, you need to have the maintenance, right? So eventually the cost of the maintenance goes high. So that's the reason we are going for the event driven architecture. If you see this slide, like we are talking about scale integration with an event driven architecture. So we are moving from the point to point integration to the event driven architecture, where Salesforce is publishing an event on the event bus, that is a high platform, a platform event bus, where the information will be there 72 hours. And SAP system, Heroku system, MDM system can come and subscribe that. We don't have to take care of it. It's our job to publish it, and it's a job of downstream system to come and pull that information. Even though there are some of the system where it goes to the maintenance on every Friday, right? So they don't have to think about it. Okay, our system is down maybe 1 or 2 days. Okay, but on Monday morning, like we can come and subscribe the event to the event bus, because the event bus will carry that all the event information 72 hours, which is 3 days, right? And when I'm talking about the information, is nothing but the state change, right? I told you about, let's say if opportunity is won, we are sending that opportunity ID and opportunity won state to the event bus. If you're converting the lead, we wanted to send that lead information, only the lead information, to the event bus, that we're talking about, like a state change. Okay, so it's like a near real time integration. Okay, so if you see in the diagram that we are using the event bus class, and we are having the publish method, where if we are close the deal, we are sending that information to the event bus. We are publishing that event, right? And the Amazon S3 can take, Amazon Web Services can take that closed deal information and can update the inventory. Heroku system can push notification once they get the closed deal. They can push the notification to the customer that thank you for purchasing the product, or any other business logic they wanted to perform. Oracle system can create an invoice, right? System can create a report according to that, according to that event. So when the event is published, so the other system, maybe 10 systems, can perform their task according to that event. And if you see, Salesforce is also subscribing. If it, I think it's a multi-tenant, multi-tenant org strategy, where the service cloud is resolving that case, that deal is closed. So Salesforce can subscribe to that event and close the deal. So these are all business logic, can be performed to the all the external system. We are not talking about the data synchronization here, we are talking about the business process, right? If you're sending in information according to that state, the other third party system can take the decision and perform their business, their different business logic, right? Okay, let's move. Now we have seen the event driven architecture, what it is, right? Event producer, event consumer, which is subscriber, event channel, event bus, right? It's a high volume platform event bus. And as I said earlier, right, by default, after 45 API 45 version, we have a standard high volume platform event. If you see in this diagram, we have a high volume platform event. Now, platform event, you can think about it's a stripped down version of the object, how you create the object, right? So it's similar like the stripped down version of object, but you don't have the specific record type, page layout. There are limitation when you're creating the field also. There are 6 fields. I think it's supported like text, text area, number. So there are limited fields which is supported by the platform event. And it's like a stripped down version of the S object. If you see, the API name is underscore underscore e, and so there is a differentiator here with the your custom object and the platform event, but it similarly works like the custom object. Okay, so platform event also decouples the mechanism, right? It's published the event on the event bus through the REST, SOAP, and bulk API. And even though we can create an event through the Apex, which is class event bus dot publish method, where we are publishing the event on the event bus. Okay, one thing about the platform event I just wanted to highlight here. Maybe I can go to the org and I can show you maybe the org itself. If you see, I've created the order event here, right? We're just saving for the time. I've created one event, which is the high platform event. Now you don't have the option to choose the event type also. By default, all the events after the 45 API 45 version is the high platform event. Now those who have created the standard platform event will not, I think it will move to the high platform event. And the high platform event, the retention window of the event bus, right? Again, I'll go back to the slide. The event bus is 72 hours, right? 3 days. But for the standard platform event, the retention window was the 24 hours. So 24 hours, your event will be in the event bus. And if your subscriber have not subscribed to the event, it will fall from the event bus, right? So for the standard platform event, it was a problem that it was a synchronous also. High platform volume event is asynchronous. For the standard platform event, the retention window was 24 hours. And by default, now Salesforce has given us the high platform event. If you see the publish behavior here, there are 2 publish behavior: publish after commit and publish immediately. So publish immediately is nothing but, even though your transaction fails into the sales, or maybe you're updating any field, and based upon that field, some task is getting created, even though that failed, it didn't work, then also the high publish behavior, which is publish immediately, will publish that event on the event bus, irrespective of your transaction fails or not. And publish after commit is nothing but it will respect your transaction, right? It should be processed successfully, then only it will publish on the event bus. One thing about the publish after commit, you can roll back the transaction from the event bus, and through the publish immediately, you cannot, right? So this is like a stripped down version of the S object or object, right? And if you see, there are standard fields been created by Salesforce. Replay ID is nothing but when you're publishing an event on the event bus, right? Salesforce by default gives the replay ID to that message. Even though if the third party system is down for a couple of days, maybe 2 days, and they wanted to resume the event, right, where they have dropped off, they can take that replay ID and they can again start the picking up the event from the event bus, right? Created by created the event UUID is nothing but the universal identifier schema ID for the event. If by default any event is failed while publishing, right, we'll get to know by this ID, our event has been failed, and we can re-trigger that. And if you have seen, I have created a couple of fields over here: account ID, account, opportunity ID, and there are a number of limited data type. And Salesforce have introduced in the last release a new data type, which is text area long, right? So this is the platform event. This is how you create the platform event. And once you create the platform event, you need to publish that event on the event bus. If you see here the trigger, you can have a trigger and publish the event. If you see the subscription, if this platform event is being subscribed by maybe Flow or Apex, that particular Flow and Apex will come here with the last process ID and last subscriber ID uh, on this page. So there is no record type, there's no page layout. So that is the reason I call this as a stripped down version of the S object. Okay, let's move. I'm going to show the demo also, how we are going to publish and subscribe that into the Node.js app. We discuss about this. Okay, subscription model also we covered. Okay, publish event through the REST endpoint. Now your event, right, we created the order event. It will be under the S object umbrella only. If you go on the workbench, if you go on the REST API uh, uh, you know uh, page, then you can see that order event notification into the workbench as well. So let me show you that also, where you can see the okay. So go on REST Explorer, get the services, and our current version is 53 version, API version, and go down and see the S object here. Okay, I need to authenticate. So currently I'm into the S object. You will see a lot of S object here, and under the S object, you will see our platform event, which we created in the org. If you see in the org, we have created the order event. So under the S object only, you will see the order event. Go here, click on the URL, and this is your endpoint of the platform event, right? So services slash data version, your word API version slash S object and order event, and you will see all of the information about uh, that platform event. Okay. So here also you can if you wanted to see how it works, you can post that, and check that whether your information is being inserted or not. Okay, so let's go to the Apex, how you can publish subscribe the event. You can subscribe the event also through the Apex trigger, subscribing an event through the Lightning Web Component. I'm not going to read all of this theoretical things. We'll see that in the demo itself. Also, you can import that EMP API which I told about in the Lightning Web Component, and even the Lightning Aura component, which is Lightning EMP API. You need to also subscribe the commit D in your JavaScript file, and you can subscribe the event into your Lightning Web Component and then Lightning component. Okay, so that's about PE, right? We discuss about the platform event. It's a high platform event. Replay ID we discuss. Event UUID we discuss. The high platform event is nothing but 72 hours retention window. Even though third party system, downstream system is down, they can come and pick the event through the replay ID. All of the event, what we publish on the event bus, it will be serialized, right? It won't be a different event. It will be following that chronological pattern. So that's about the platform event. Now let's discuss about the change data capture, CDC. What is change data capture and why we need it? We already have a platform event where we are sending the information to the downstream system. If anything is changed into the Salesforce, we wanted to let them know, right? Now, many people ask me about, why we have a change data capture when we have a peer platform event, right? What is the need of it? So change data capture is nothing but the extended version of the platform event, where when you think about the data synchronization, then you need to think about the CDC, change data capture, right? Again, I'll repeat myself. When you're thinking about the data synchronization, data, not the notification. When you wanted to send the notification to the downstream system, something have changed into the Salesforce. We are publishing it, maybe one field or two field, opportunity stage and opportunity ID, come and pick that event and then process your business logic. It's just a notification, right? Small notification. But when you're thinking about the data synchronization in your downstream system, that these are the information have changed, then you'll go for the CDC, change data capture, right? I'll give you an example about the CDC now. Take an example on the customer account object, right? You're changing the address information, you're changing the number, you're changing the email address, you're changing the customer order information. Now there might be a 50 fields, right? There might be 100 fields, correct? And that you wanted to send to your downstream system, that these are the information have changed into the Salesforce, and we are publishing that on the event bus, and come and subscribe that. So then you will go for the change data capture. Think the change data capture is like a horse, and platform event like bird, a small pigeon, where it's taking the piece of paper to any person, and horse is like taking the huge load of the data to your downstream system, right? So if you have this requirement in your enterprise org, then you go for the change data capture, right? So we'll just read the definition, what exactly change data capture says. In database, change data capture is a set of software design pattern used to determine and track the data that has changed, so the action can be taken using the change data. CDC is an approach to data integration that is based on the identification, capture, delivery of the change made in enterprise data source. So if any information is changed on account or lead object or order object, we are sending the whole payload to the event bus, high volume platform event bus, where the downstream system can get the event. By default, if you see the change data capture, the subscriber can also subscribe on the particular object, like account change event, lead change event. So every object will have a change event, right? And if you wanted to see everything in your org what has been changed, then you will just go on the slash data slash change event. So you will see everything what has been changed in your org so far, right? And if you wanted to get the specific data, I'm talking about in the downstream perspective, okay? So if the downstream system wants only the account information or the order information, they will go for with the account change event, not the change event. Change event will take everything in the org. Okay, in the CDC, if you see, we can create a record, update a record, deleting a record, undeleting a record. So undeleting also, if we undelete into the Salesforce, it will tell the downstream system we have undeleted the record in the Salesforce, and we need to sync our data with your data, right? If you're creating any record, take an example of opportunity record or order information, we're sending that all the order information and all the state which has been changed on the order object, right? Maybe there are 50 fields which has been changed. We are sending it to the downstream system, and downstream system will get that all the state change into these into their system. So we are talking about the complete sync here, right? We wanted to sync with the MDM system and SAP system, whatever we are having in the org. We wanted to have the golden set of data into their org as well. So we are talking about the data sync here. If you're deleting anything, we are also telling the downstream system that we have deleted this record. Please also delete from your downstream system. Okay, so that is CDC. So we understood why we are using the PE and why we are using the CDC. So when we're thinking about the data synchronization, we'll go with the CDC. And when we're talking about the notification mechanism, right, we just wanted to notify downstream system that something has changed into the Salesforce, and this is just a piece of information, right? I talked about, right, this data slash change event. It will take everything from the org, whatever, maybe we have a 50 objects, every change event it will take, and it will send it to the downstream system. But if you wanted to take the specific event, then we'll have the account change event, right? Lead change event. So CDC.
Hey,
Uh,
Daniel, just to interrupt, your slides are actually not in full screen mode. Can you make it full screen?
is it possible? Is it fine now?
Yeah, thank you. Sorry for
Okay, thank
interrupting.
no problem. Was it very small earlier?
No, no, no. It was visible, but yeah, just for recording purposes, I had to intervene.
Okay, thank you for notifying me. Okay, so we talked about, right, the CDC. If something have changed, if you see in this diagram, we have the example of Acme. If we has created the Acme record account, customer record, we are sending that into the AWS and SAP system, and we don't have the point-to-point integration, right? We're not writing the code for the dedicatedly for the AWS and dedicatedly for the SAP, right? We are just sending on that event on the event stream, uh, event bus, and the AWS and SAP system are coming and subscribing that. N- The the main fundamental and the core objective of the CDC is no polling, right? We don't have to tell every time to the downstream system that something have changed, or downstream system will not come to the Salesforce. Okay, is there any change? So there is no polling at all. Every 30 seconds or 1 minute, the downstream system is not pulling from the Salesforce, right? We are publishing that on the event bus, and uh, the third party system will come and subscribe that. So there is no polling. We don't have the we don't have to write the ETL batch process also. We're not exporting every nightly batch, and pushing that onto the third party system, downstream system, and syncing all our data with their data, right? We are not doing that ETL process informatica process, where we are running that nightly job. So in that way, if this is your requirement, you are also eradicating the ETL process as well, right? ETL process will give you lot of capability like golden record and all. But I'm talking about the data synchronization perspective. You don't need the ETL here if this is your requirement. And obviously you don't have the point to point integration. And again, it's a real time event driven integration pattern, right? The all the changes will go on the event bus real time, and it's a part of the third party system will come and pick that event. Okay, so if you see that, even I'm having the record called uh, Airbus in my system, and I updated that uh, the account name, customer name to the Airbus airline, right? So what will happen? The update event will trigger. It will send that updated information like Airbus to the Airbus airline to the enterprise messaging bus, and third party system, maybe it's a SAP system, will get an update. If that earlier they had information about only the Airbus, now they got the updated information Airbus airline. So in that way the update event will trigger, right? I talked to you about if we can update, delete, undelete. So CDC will take care of that, will do all the heavy lifting, and push that information to the event bus, and the third party system can be sync, right? Totally sync whatever information the Salesforce has. They will also have the correct information. There will be no time lag, or there will be no delay of every night or every weekly we are running the batch and syncing that with the third party system. That won't be a case. Okay. uh, Capture for a data change event, publish to change stream, and send the subscriber event. We talked about that. Now let's see this real time some example of CDC, the data replication, right? We have seen the example when we are changing any data, right? Not only one information, like maybe 100 fields to 200 fields, that all the data we need to master it into the somewhere into the master data management, right, in MDM. So we're updating the external system through the CDC that this is our information, please also keep your system updated. So we are maintaining the master data management somewhere. So process automation, second one is process automation, where we are sending, if something have changed into the Salesforce, if the opportunity is closed one, send that to the event bus, SAP, Oracle, MDM, or any workday system, finance system. They can be they can get that state change. Maybe it's not a one state change, it can be multiple fields in the CDC, and the downstream system can react and uh, do their business processes. I'm here not talking about the data synchronization. I'm talking about if one state have changed, and according to that they wanted to create an invoice, they wanted to do the reporting, they wanted to run the analytics on it, so they can do that. Third is audit and compliance. So if you see in the financial business perspective, every financial bank or customer, they have a need. They wanted to see the change of every field or every record, right? What was it earlier and what was being changed, right? So every time if we are changing something into the Salesforce org, we are sending the history and as well as the new information into the data in a archival mechanism. It can be your own backup, it can be Amazon S3, it can be Oda Seva. So we are changing all that state change information to the data archival mechanism, correct? So the downstream system will also have the information, and data archival also system will also have the information in the financial client perspective, that this was the information about this customer, and this person have changed the information on this date, this time, and what was the prior value and what was the latest value for this customer. So changes in Salesforce must be stored for an extended period of time. So financial customer, mainly they wanted to see, maybe 5 years down to the line, all the customer information, what was earlier, earlier information, what is the latest information, and who made the changes. So it's very crucial for the financial bank and financial customer to have this information, right? For the example, I have taken the Amazon S3 bucket. It can be a different archival mechanism also in your enterprise landscape. Okay, before the demo, I wanted to talk about a few things I missed, I think, in the platform event, because I need to cover the demo as well. So now the platform event, right? There is a filter mechanism in the latest release. I think maybe before two release they have introduced filter mechanism. So if you are mentioned, if I'll give you the example, what is filter mechanism here now. My screen is visible in a big mode, Raul. Can you just confirm that?
Yes, yes, Daniel. Everything is going.
Okay, fine. So platform event filtering, right? So I'll give an example about, let's say the order has been created in Salesforce, right? And I'm having the universal org where I'm maintaining the order of Asia Pacific. I'm making the order of the US specific, China specific. So all of the order information I have it, and I'm publishing that information on the event bus, right? Let's say Asia specific, I have publish the order number and order state onto the event bus. Now ERP system or any shipping system wants to subscribe that, right? So they wanted to know, okay, what is the Asia specific events I want to pick it, right? So there the platform event filtering comes in. So we can get the filtering in the event, that okay, these are the orders specific to the Asia, these are the order specific to China, these are order specific to America. Go and subscribe the order information according to your region, right? The shipping app and the mechanism may be different for country to country. So according to their region, they can just pick the event. Correct. So there is a new mechanism of the filter, platform event filter. So they won't take all of the information from the event bus, right? If they don't need it, why they will subscribe it, right? So there is a filtering they can do now on the subscribing part. Even though for the Salesforce perspective, if you are subscribing anything on the event bus from the ERP system, from the SAP system, we can do the filtering part. Okay, I just need this information. I just need the information related to Germany. Okay, and I get that order information or that particular event information according to my region or my business logic. I won't take all of the information from the event bus. So this was, I wanted to highlight one thing. Again, on the CDC I'm going to show now in the org. Let me go here. These are all point and click sales. So if you're seeing the evolution of the integration spectrum, it's been moving from the huge code to low code, no code platform, right? Where Salesforce is giving you the flexibility to have the integration on the UI perspective. You don't have to write much code on it. So we're moving to the low code and no code mechanism in the integration perspective. In the future, down to the line, it will be more improved. As I said, Salesforce have improved the PE for the filtering, and again for the CDC, there are if you see that I have added like this 5 objects: account, problem, campaign, and all. Take an example of account itself. I have added this for the change data capture. So all of the account information, whatever the fields are there, maybe 100 fields. If all the 100 fields have been changed, it will go to the account change event on the event bus, right? But there are and in this latest release, the Salesforce have introduced new concept also in the CDC. Keep a note on it now. It's not GA, it's still in the beta. I've just discussed with the product manager, got this information. Now, if there are some of the information which your downstream system needs, right? Example of external ID. So if external ID is all the time constant, right? You cannot change that, and it will go to the downstream system into the change data capture CDC. So you can add up to 10 fields which is unchanged into the CDC, and it will go to the downstream system. So still it's in the beta pilot mode now. It's not yet GA. So you can add the external ID, if foreign key, or constant ID, which you need to send it to the downstream system. Okay, this is our external ID, and the downstream system also needs that information. So you can add up to 10 fields on it. Again, it's not a GA yet. So all of the information, if you add the account entity here, whatever the address or state or email ID has been changed into the account, it will go to the account change event, and the external system can subscribe that and can get that. And also you will have the ability uh, in the future where you can add the 10 fields which is unchanged, but your downstream system needs that information for the further processing and keep it synced with your org. So this is the change data capture. Okay, I think we are over the time now. Let me go to the demo now. We have discussed about the audit compliance as well. Okay, so I have for the demo, right before yesterday one of the dear trailblazers asked me about, I just wanted to see how we are subscribing the platform event through the Apex, and specifically from the VF page, right? So I've written a VF page here. Okay, I'm having the controller fire platform event, having the Apex form command button. Not recommended to go for the VF, right? We are moving to the lightning component and lightning web component. But I think in the second webinar or third, we are going to have a 2 more webinar for this, where I'll going to discuss about how you can subscribe the platform event through the lightning web component and lightning component. And through the command button, I'm having the action fire action here. Okay, let's look at the code now. So I'm having the control, I'm having the fire method. If you see, I have bulkified event all the time. You need to make sure that your event should be underscore e. I'm passing that into the list. If it is a single event you wanted to pass it, you don't have the list, but obviously for better performance and all, you need to bulkify your code, and a list of event you need to pass it, then you need to get that into the list. uh, then I'm adding all of the event into the order event list here, which is we created the instance here, right? And we are adding that into the order event list. Let me add the account ID and opportunity ID. So I'm going to take the, let's say, opportunity ID here. I wanted to send that information to the Node.js app, right? Remember what I'm doing now. I'm passing the opportunity and account associated account information to the Node.js app. Okay, that we are passing that on the event bus, and Node.js app will subscribe that through the event bus. Correct? We are not passing directly to the Node.js. It's not a point-to-point integration. It's decoupled integration. So let me take the opportunity ID, unified oil office, right? So I'll take this ID, and this will be my opportunity. I'm hard coding as for the demo. Do not hard code it. Get this ID dynamic, right? You know how to get this ID dynamic. So I've passed the opportunity ID. I'm passing it account ID now, and amount information. So these are the field I have created on the platform event. Correct? If you check, if you see the platform event, so I've created the order event, and in the the API name of the order event is order event underscore underscore e, and I have created this three fields on the order. So I wanted to send the Node.js, right, which is my subscriber. I'm not sending directly to Node.js. I'm sending this to the platform event, right, on the event bus. So I'm sending the account ID, amount, and opportunity ID on the event bus, right, which is high volume platform event bus. So I have added the account, I have added the amount, I have added the opportunity. If you see this, all of the ID, and I'm adding that to our instance, right, order event. We have initiated the instance. You know how to do that. So we have added this value. Again, I'll take the different opportunity and the account ID here. Just let's say. So we are taking this opportunity and the associated account, right, with that opportunity. So I'm taking this ID. Again, do not hard code this, get this ID dynamically. Um, and then I'm publishing this event, right? We discussed about it. I'm using the event bus class and the method publish. Through this, you can publish the event on the event bus, and I'm getting that into the database.save result. I'm checking, what are the event which has been published. If it is success, we have showing that successfully published platform event. If there are any errors, we're getting that error also into our database.error, which will also log into the into our debug log, right? So let me save this now. Okay, there is an error. Okay. So if you see that, I've initiated the platform event through the order event underscore underscore e, correct? But here, yeah. So for the adding, I'm giving underscore underscore. So you need to make sure that your API name should be correct. A lot of people miss out, with the custom object and platform event is because it's similar. You need to take that into the consideration. Okay, so we had this ID as well. Okay, which has been saved. Okay, no problem. And then I have a VF page. Let me preview the VF page. And already I have subscribed this particular event on the Node.js app. So this is my Node.js. And if you see earlier, I have got the lot of event. Let me type again Node index.js. This part you don't have to think about it, right? It's all part of the different your external system where they will subscribe on the event bus. But just for the demo perspective, what I have done, I have installed the Node.js, and we need to use the JS Force library. Okay, and you need to do how you need to do the subscribing part. You need to write the code into the Node.js. I'm going to show you that code also, what you need to make a note of it, and you can subscribe the uh, subscribe the event on the event bus through the Node.js. Okay, I have not fired the event yet. Let me preview this VF page. And if you see the fire button, I have given the value fire, and then I'm firing the event. I've just fired the event, and now let me see whether I have subscribed it through the Node.js, and if you see that I've got the all of the payload here. So let me see the latest ID. This is my opportunity ID. This is the amount. This is the created date. If you see, the created date is now, and this is my account ID. Now let me see the opportunity, whether I got the correct payload or not. Okay, if you see, I got the uh, opportunity, maybe Grand Hotel, right? So this is our payload. Okay, let me again initiate the fire. Will fire the platform event. It will go to the event bus, and our Node.js will subscribe that. It will take couple of seconds, and we should get all of our platform event. Okay, so we got it again, right? So it will pull everything from the event bus, and it will display over here. Maybe I'll take this platform event. I've initiated couple of times. Okay, I've clicked the button couple of times. That is the reason we got this huge payload, right? So let me go again here and see the opportunity which we published is correct or not. Okay, if you know that, earlier in the before a couple of minutes ago, I have published GenPoint SLA to the event bus, and the Node.js subscribed the event on the event bus, and it got the information. So all you have to do, just if you wanted to know more about Node.js, how it works, install Node.js library, the app, and then you need to have that JS Force library installed in it. uh, Install npm and Node.js library. Now, maybe if you wanted to know about it more, then you just get in touch with me on the LinkedIn, and we can jump into the call, and I can explain you more about it, because I don't wanted to spend a lot of time. I think we are over the time, so we'll skip this part, how we subscribe through the Node.js. And even though you don't need to know about it, as it's a Java third-party system, they will subscribe to the platform event. But just for the demo perspective, I have shown that to you. Okay, so thank you. That's about platform event and CDC. I've just given the overview, bit information about the PE and CDC. We'll have more session. Just discuss with Devasis, maybe two sessions, and we'll see how we can subscribe the event in the Salesforce. Now we subscribe the event through the Node.js, correct? Now, and publish through the Salesforce. But subscription part, we left it due to the time. So maybe next time, we can learn about how we can subscribe the event in the Salesforce. That's it. Thank you for your time, and if you have any question, please shoot.
Yeah, so Daniel, we have some questions. So, first question is, where does this event bus resides?
So this event bus resides into the Salesforce stack only, right? Sales Cloud, Service Cloud. But I think a couple of weeks ago they have moved into the different stack, Salesforce stack only, but it will not be entitled or mingled with the Sales Cloud, Service Cloud, CPQ stack. They have the dedicated stack, stack altogether for the event bus now. Okay, and different runtime environment as well. It just because a lot of people were moving from the point to point to the event driven architecture, and there was a huge request. Maybe 200 plus, like millions of event was publishing and subscribing through the platform event. So just for the better performance, it is moved into the different stack, but it's a Salesforce stack only, but it has a dedicated event, enterprise event messaging stack now. Yeah.
Yeah. So, one question from my side. So, when you say it's moved from different stack, now how's the different clouds going to interact here? So, that process remains still same, right? But in back
Yes.
end, they have just changed their stacks, right?
Correct, correct. You don't have to worry about that, as
Yeah,
Hyperforce, right? You
correct,
don't have to worry about that, where your data has been moved, and how the platform has moved.
correct.
Salesforce will take care of everything, but just for the inside information,
Got it.
where your event bus resides, I've given that information.
Got it.
And it's all under the hood.
Yeah,
The performance of the user, nothing will get impacted, even though now whatever the event was published right earlier, before maybe 2 months ago, millions of event, they have moved that all the events successfully into the different stack, so there was no information. There was no error or misleading information here.
got it.
Yeah.
So, can you explain bit about replay ID?
Sure. So replay ID is nothing but every time when you publish the event on the event bus, high platform event bus, Salesforce will give uh, ID to that particular message, right? And why you need that replay ID when any third party system is down, right? Maybe on premise system is down 1 or 2 days, right? So they won't be able to consume, they won't be able to subscribe the event, correct?
Hmm.
So that is the reason they can take that replay ID and again subscribe on the event bus before it permanently fails from the event bus, right? After 3 days, all the event will fall from the event bus. So with within that retention window, if the platform, external system is up again, they can get that replay ID and again, subscribe all of the events. So that is the main agenda for the replay ID.
Got it. So the next question is how Salesforce authenticates slash authorizes subscriber who will be subscribing to either platform, events, or CDC.
uh, can you come again for the question?
Yeah. So it says how does Salesforce authenticate slash authorizes subscriber who will be subscribing to either platform, events, or CDC.
So I've shown you the that particular endpoint, right, from the workbench, services slash data as object, right? So
Hmm.
you need to share that endpoint with your external system, and they will get the data from the event bus, and that
Okay.
way they can subscribe it.
Okay. So
Yeah.
is Mule work in event driven architecture?
Yes. Again, Mule will add extra salt in the event driven architecture. I would recommend, if you have a mule, right, work it should work hand in hand with the event driven architecture. I'll give you one best example about why you would be needing mule also here if you are having a huge enterprise scale. Even though now you're publishing the event on the event bus, right, but your external system wants some orchestration, wants some data into the different orchestrated way. So mule will pick that event through the in the event bus and will send it to the downstream system, uh, in a different format. Maybe they want the data into the XML format. So Mule will do that orchestration and transformation, right? We are sending the payload in the JSON format, right? But your SAP system would maybe want it into the XML or a different language altogether. So Mule will do that transformation here. So Mule, I think it goes hand in hand with the Mule also. If you have a huge transformation project or enterprise level project. Yeah,
Yeah.
good question.
Yeah. So the next question we have is could you please explain once what is no polling and no batch ETL process in CDC?
No polling and no batch process. So no polling is nothing but see, it was using the SQL query, right? Every time you need to get run that SQL query every 1 minute or 5 minutes, and it was doing the polling, correct?
Yeah.
Where uh, in the platform event or CDC, you don't need the polling is not required. So it will not call Salesforce again and again, for every 5 minutes, 2 minutes. Okay, what has been changed into the Salesforce, right? We need to know that. So whatever has been changed, we will publish that, and that way we are eradicating polling was like an old concept, in
Got
earlier,
it.
I think, generic API and push
Yeah.
topic API, we were using that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll take two more questions for the day. Other people can please reach out to Daniel on LinkedIn and Twitter. Okay, so he can personally guide you on those scenarios. So yeah, the last two questions that we are taking is one: can we have multiple event bus, or for the entire org there is a single event bus?
Very good question. Very good. Can we have a multiple event bus?
Yeah.
No. In the Salesforce, we only have a one event bus, high volume platform event bus. There are event bus in the market, okay, apart from the Salesforce. So it's not only the Salesforce event bus. There are event bus like Amazon MQ, Rabbit event bus, something like that. So there are couple of good enterprise event bus in the market. If you're having that need in your enterprise landscape, I wouldn't recommend that having the different event bus again and implementing a different integration stack altogether. Use the platform event, right? It's quite good, robust. Salesforce have improved a lot, right? You can publish up to uh, 50,000 events in 24 hours, right? So
Yeah.
imagine, you can publish millions of event every day. So the high volume platform event have its own flavor, uh, own advantage, where you can publish a lot of events, even though you can subscribe a lot of events in that particular day, right? Take an example of maybe you're having Amazon. every day, maybe uh, millions of order has been created, right? So you can publish and subscribe millions of event on the Salesforce event bus. But yeah, there are some event bus in the market, Amazon MQ and Rabbit event event messaging, enterprise messaging bus. But I would recommend go for the Salesforce because it's shares the same stack, right? If you're
Okay.
using another event bus, maybe Amazon MQ event bus, you don't know how they handle the data, right? You are compromising your security of the org. So when you are on the same stack, same org, same, using the same technology, for the security perspective, you should go ahead with the same event bus.
Okay, Daniel. So, Daniel, one question from my side. So, in since we have lot of legacy systems while dealing with our CRMs, right?
Yeah,
Many people are still using some legacy tools by which have been developed in, say, in Java, or say in some external devices, like external services they have. Okay. Now,
yeah.
how does event like error handling in those scenarios happen? Because half of those systems are not available to capture those platform events. Okay, so what's the best way of taking event driven architecture? Like, now this is two-part question. One, what's the best way of taking event driven architecture in terms of legacy systems? Secondly, how does exceptional handling happens in this event driven architecture?
Yeah. So see, every external system should be compliant with the Comet D protocol, right? BIOS
Yeah,
protocol. Then only they can subscribe and publish the event. If your on-premise system is not compliant, or doesn't have that Comet D JavaScript library, BIOS protocol, they cannot publish and subscribe it, right? So if they have it, obviously they can do that error handling mechanism. They can just check if our event, whatever we published on the event bus, where whether it's successful or error. And even though from the Salesforce side, as I mentioned, if you are publishing an event on the event bus, every event will have the event ID,
yeah,
UUID,
yeah.
UUID, right? Universal unique identifier ID, which is
Correct.
like a schema ID. And through that schema we'll get to know, okay, what are the event has been published successfully or
Okay.
not, right?
Okay.
Through our when we are writing the exception logic.
Yeah.
So in that way, we can publish and subscribe, with the fact of that, we are delivering the event in a proper way, and there is no error at all. So both of the system will get to know about it. Yeah.
Got it. Got it. So Daniel, that's what we have Q&As for today, and I really want to thank you for driving this topic, and trust me, this is one of the topics, and you provided a lot of information on it, and many people, like I can see the chat window, people are telling the same thing, that this session was very informative, and the same happened. So yeah, this was a very informative sessions, and we will try to have more of such sessions in our future events. We'll have a word with Devashish, and we'll update you surely.
Sure, sure. Thank you, Rahul, for your time, and thank you all of people who attended the session. If you have any question, reach out to me. Salesforce have introduced recently last week, and it is in GA now. It's available, which is PubSub API, which is using the gRPC protocol. It's similarly like a Comet D, and it's using the 11 language like C Sharp, .NET, and everything. It's not only limited to the JavaScript now. So I'll get more information about it. It's totally new in the market, and but it's it's a lot better than the PE. I would say, don't know much about it. It's recently launched, and I will keep you posted about it more. Maybe we'll have a one couple of more session about it,
Sure,
because
sure.
yeah, as it's a vast topic. But
Yeah,
thank you for giving me your time, and thank you, Rahul, and the buses, for inviting me, and talking to all of the dear trailblazer in a community.
same here, same here. Thank you, Daniel. Thank you, everyone, for joining in today. We will be, once this event is completed, once the recording is available, we'll be YouTube channel. I have mentioned the link on the chat window. You can have a look at those playlists. For now, all the previous sessions are present there. This session will also be part of that, all that particular playlist. So thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining in. Stay tuned for the videos. Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you.